thing to start, although we do have some folks who have been here for a bit. Thanks for joining. Want to welcome everyone here today. This is a special live Q&A session with Jenn Bloomberg of Modern Companion. For those of you who really wanted to hear more from her personally after our webinar last week, this is our opportunity to do so. So if you are here today with questions about Modern Companion, then go ahead and put those in the Q&A if you brought them with you. And of course, if they come up, if you are inspired and have questions that you'd like to ask, then definitely add those as you see them. So, so Jennifer, first, we'd love to hear a little bit about, the backstory of Modern Companion. What got you started with what you're doing there?
Yeah, I would love to share about that with you guys. So I started Modern Companion September 2019. So it's fairly new still. I mean, at the end of last year, I got it going, but I had just was at a place in my business where I had just finished up some extensive personal development. And I was just kind of ready for I just needed to kind of dig in and just shake things up and just really it was just time for a fresh thing for my business. And earlier that year, I had really established so many great, healthy, and growing relationships with my downline members over text. And this was just something that was so eye-opening to me, because as a business builder who I'm going on 6 years in the business. And so I've really had some ups, some downs, some turns. It's been an amazing journey, but it's just evolved. And one of the things that I really needed to focus on for my business where I was at was just really finding a way to connect with people in a authentic, personal way that was not strictly social media. It was for so long, my business, when it started out 6 years ago, Facebook was like the end all, be all, everything. I absolutely would not have known how to run my business without Facebook. If you were to go back 5.5 years, I would be like, what do you mean? We did, several years back, Facebook algorithms would change and group settings would change and various things. That's just one of the many hurdles that those of us who've been building business, for that long and through kind of some of those tweaks, had to kind of figure out. That's just part of business. You have to figure out these things. You have to roll with these, go with the flow. But when I established these relationships that was off social media, offline altogether, and I was able to connect with people, hear their needs, establish a relationship, get really great two-way conversations going, all of that, it was a game changer for me where I was at in my business. And so when I started Modern Companion, I thought I was at a place where I was like, okay, I'm going to do a fresh thing in a fresh way, but it's got to be focusing on connecting with people over text and staying, just keeping a good thing going there. But I needed a higher level of strategy and just kind of a fresh, just what's the word I'm looking for? Losing my train of thought. Let me get a sip of water. So I needed that strategy and just that consistent, I systemized it. That's what it was. That's the word I'm looking for. I needed this system. So I was talking with a cross-line friend of mine. We were kind of hashing out some ideas. She had gone through the same personal development that I did, which this personal development really helped us. It was a program. It really helped us strip back the, salesiness, strip back busy work, strip back just making it was eye-opening to see all these things that I had been doing as a leader that were really just checking things off a list and focusing more on lists and maybe busy work, as opposed to really helping people move and grow in their wellness, which that's what this business is about. It's about growing in your health and wellness. And I don't know if you've ever had these moments, but sometimes I learn something and it feels like it's it feels like it's brand new, but you're like, no, this is kind of taking me back to the heart of what I'm doing and like the core of what things are. And it's like and then it's just like you step back, it's like, how did all the other things this 6 years even get there? Like, how did all this other stuff even get to the table? So anyways, I stepped aside from this conversation with my friend and I got out a pen and paper and I mapped out 4 huge papers worth of notes, and the system, it was just kind of, it was right there all along, and the system just kind of came forth on paper, and it was just what I've been doing with Modern Companion ever since, just to be
Wow.
heart-centered and strategic with building those relationships. I had to have it for my team, for myself, and if I've got it to where I'm using it and it's there and it's something that someone else can take and run with, then I would love to make it available for them to take and run with as well.
That is amazing. Well, let me ask you this, because after having done a round of building exclusively on Facebook, I know how much of a hamster wheel that can feel like, how exhausting it can be, how much time it can take. What did the shift look like for you after you had this realization and started using these systems that you now offer with Modern Companion? What was the time difference like for you in terms of like how much time you would have to actually spend in your business versus your free time?
Well, to know that I could have things programmed, ready to go, ready to send to people, I could sit down, it took time blocking to a whole nother level of efficiency, because, I would do some time blocking or, before with Facebook, but you don't know who's going to see your content. You don't know if it's going to be what that person needs, if they're interested in it. It's a whole lot more vague. And so it felt amazing when I could take 1 hour or 20 minutes even, any period of time, you can sit down and just have your content ready to go, send it specifically to who needs to hear it, who you need to touch base with exactly, and be getting their responses and start engaging. And you can program out your whole month if you want to, or weeks at a time. And all you have to do at that point is just engage and build relationships. And so it just, it felt like such a relief, and like I was doing something really smart that was really good. That I was like, this was time, effort, all the things well spent to get these conversations happening, because the people were responding, and it was people who, it was targeted. That's a good word. So it was the targeting of the people who I needed to connect with. It just, it felt so amazing just to see those kind of results with it.
Mm-hmm. And it had to feel so empowering too, to sit down and say, I'm going to do work and know exactly what you're going to do, right? Because busy work can just swallow your life, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, I have been, busy work it's, we talked about this some the other day, Ashley. It's like, some things are busy work that have to be done, but I had taken on so many, things that, I think it's part of like, well, you see other leaders maybe doing it. And if it's a leader that you have, maybe has a higher rank than you, or maybe you just respect or admire for whatever reasons, like, well, if they're doing it, then I guess I should. Over the years, you can pick up a lot of those things. And for me, this is what I was telling you the other day, that just kind of got to be something that just really just weighed me down and was a burden over time, and just kind of can zap the joy out of things. And it's not what you want. It's not what you want.
Yeah. There's an element of follow the leader that works, right? But I think that there's a point where we have to really trust our voice.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's where, and we love all of our content providers, but something that I think that you do uniquely is really kind of tapped into that individual personalized communication, right? So like, for instance, you don't do classes in the same way that maybe other folks do classes, where we're talking about email or text or social classes. What's sort of the equivalent there for you? How do you do sort of your educating, and how does that differ?
Yeah. Great question. So yes, I don't do text classes. I have not built my business on classes in the traditional sense. When I started out, it was really just all online. Again, it was very, very Facebook heavy. Instagram was not as popular way back in the day of 6 years ago. It was popular in its own way, but it's not what it is now. So again, yes, it was largely online, but also just very Facebook heavy in particular. But in-person classes was never, that was never really my thing. Basically, I'm not, now that I'm doing what I'm doing now, that just the term class, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, well, I see this leader or that, we can see other people doing it, and that's what works for them. And it's easy just to kind of feel like that's the system or the way and just take it and run with it, or feel like we should use that term or use this structure. But for me, I'm just not a class person, I guess. I'm not, definitely was not one who was on the honor roll back in the day by any means. And so I don't know if I have like a deep rooted like negative connotation with the word class. I love to learn. I love to learn. I'm constantly learning. But I don't get like a sense of excitement and like, oh yes, I want to go attend some classes just about things in life in general. And so one thing that I really try to do is just step back outside of like the Young Living bubble and just look at things, I like to make content that we can share with prospects and with somebody that we just, meet, at the park with your kids or wherever. And so if it's going to come across in any way that makes somebody go, huh, a what, or whatever, then I just try to think through it in that way. And again, and I'm not saying that is necessarily a true, like a blanket truth. I think it's just kind of to each his own. But for me, I'm just not a very class, I don't know.
It sounds like you prefer a more casual, approachable, like super casual way of being like, oh yeah, this thing here, let me show you that. Yeah, real simple, right?
Exactly. And so, but to go back to your question though, I'm kind of like rabbit trailing on you. So I do still give great educational content via text, via email. I don't refer to it as a text class. So instead of saying class, I refer to it as, I just use the term notes. Most people, if you have an iPhone, there's a notes app. I feel when I'm in conversation with somebody, I feel very just fluent and just natural and just super normal, just saying like, hey, I have some notes on that. Would you like me to send them to you? And so that's kind of the way that I use it in conversation. And
it feels so approachable.
Yeah. I had this moment. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she had these needs. She was about in tears. She really had some needs. She had never opened up to me about this thing going on with her health. It was with her skin. She had never opened up to me about this before. She's being really vulnerable. She was frustrated. She had a lot of emotions going on. I was really listening, and I wanted to let her know, let me send you a couple things to look at. I wanted to show her some testimonials and some great, some of my best product, recommendations that I like based on what I had tried. But I didn't feel really strong about saying, do you want me to put you in a class? Do you want me to send you to a class or text you a class for, it was not rolling off the lips. And so yeah. I still absolutely, so through Modern Companion, I have, I'm going to have education on Ningxia, on thieves, skincare, all the things that we want to have for our members and for our prospects ready to go. But I will just say, here's, these are our Ningxia notes, our thieves notes, as opposed to saying our classes.
Awesome. We got a couple of questions that have come in, and we definitely have more ground to cover here. But for those of our members who have joined up with you since our weekly work session last Thursday when we announced our partnership, I think we have some who are maybe in the Facebook group, maybe some who aren't. How, regardless whether they're in right now or they will be, how will they be able to access the Modern Companion content for their Get Oiling?
Okay, so currently the content is available exclusively in the Facebook group. So you will get updates in that group. It will be posted in that group. It's going to be organized so where it's easy to find. And this is not a group. The way that the group is set or designed, the group is going to kind of refresh every 30 days. So it's not going to be this massive, chaotic environment that you have to search back to December and, all this stuff for. So, so it keeps it really neat and tidy and streamlined. So that is where the content is currently. In the future, I'm going to have text and email sent out to everybody who is subscribed and in the group. So when there is new content, then it will go directly to you. It's something I am working on and putting it together. So any time now, it's going to be ready to go. But
All right.
group. So I don't want anyone thinking I'm supposed to be going somewhere else or looking somewhere else or doing something. So get in the group. You're good to go.
Okay, awesome. And then you will be announcing a release, and then you have some stuff that's already available that's in there, right?
Yes, there are. So I was chatting with everybody in the group. I was chatting with everybody in the group the other day on a video. Anyways, we were chatting in the group, and I was letting everybody know. I think there's kind of a fine line between, feeling like, hey, I'm getting a lot of great content. This is great. But then also feeling like, oh goodness, I'm drinking out of fire hydrant and it hurts. So I don't want anyone, I'm dripping it in there slowly, just, little by little, because I want people to be able to grab the content, look at it, familiarize yourself with it, use it. What good is all the content just to grab it and not be using it? There's one piece of content I've got in there right now. It's specific for February. You need to grab it and use it now. So I want people to have just the margin around them in their time to be able to get it and implement it and start engaging and building those relationships now. Not to put any rush or any like urgency on the relationships, but a relationship's a relationship. It doesn't build overnight. It's not just a once and done, reach out and you're golden. It takes time to build. So anyway, so the content, we have we have some content. Were you wanting me to go through like what's in there and available?
That was going to be the next question. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So we have, there is a February, the content in there right now, there's two kind of libraries of content. There is a library of content that I'm dripping in slowly that is going to always be there. So that's going to be things like the new member follow-up funnel, which is going to be coming in there, I believe, today. It's very exciting. And the new member welcomes and our notes. So when we give you like our core notes on, Ningxia Red, for example, that's going to be a core piece of content that's always going to be in there. But then there's also seasonal things. And so by seasonal, that's monthly. It's going to change month to month. So right now we have in there for February, we have the product promotions. So if you're someone who is sending a weekly text out, like whose ER is coming, going to be processing this month, I want to make sure they know about the promo, that sort of thing. We have the February promo in there. And then also the weekly oil tips are in there for February so far. And then I also have I need to check and make sure this is posted in there, but I have a calendar. So every month I will give you a calendar at a glance so you can see this is the days, this is what's going to be posted when, basically. So you can see that on a monthly basis.
Okay. And when you post in that group, you are sharing the Get Oiling sort of bundle share code, the resource sharing link, right? So that when they click it, if they're signed into their Get Oiling, it drops those campaigns and those notes, the saved replies into their Get Oiling, right?
Absolutely. So the Get Oiling link, you will see the post and you'll see the images with it and my description for how to use it, how to get it into your Get Oiling and just get it sent to your members. And the link is going to always include an email version and a text version.
Awesome. Let's see. There's another question just referring to your content specifically. You say you refresh every 30 days. Does the content go away? Once it's in your Get Oiling account, it's in your Get Oiling account.
Exactly. So once you have it forever. But as far as what's posted in the group, then yes, it goes away there. So if for our members who are going to be joining in March, they're not going to see the content that's available in February now.
Right, because what use is February content to you in March? Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, and no, like you mentioned, it keeps things clean. I actually really respect that a lot. When people are endeavoring to build a business
Mhm.
in this business, it's
Mhm.
really easy to feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose. It's really difficult for us with all of the capabilities of the Get Oily platform to train you in such a way that you don't feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose when we talk to you. And
Right.
frequently there's really, where we're concerned, it's sometimes unavoidable. But with what
Yeah,
you're doing,
exactly.
you're at least making it like optional, like I'm sorry, actionable and simple.
Mhm.
This is this month, do this month, get it done, right?
Absolutely, and that's part of what I've been thinking through, and that continually will be part of something I think through from my end as I'm providing this and just kind of leadership in giving this content, because really stepping back and saying, okay, and I've been asking everyone in the group, like, hey, who are you? Where are you at in your business? Where are you at with Get Oiling? What are your needs right now? Do you have a big team, a little like where are you at? And just because me getting a sense of knowing like what are people needing right now. Again, I'm not just checking my boxes off. Okay, I linked this, I linked this, I linked this. I want to really set everyone up with what they need, when they need it, and just to kind of pace it out well, and just to kind of help lead them through that and getting it executed and done best I can. To go back, you mentioned something a second ago, Ashley. You're like, well, what point? February content, that was February. I don't need it now. I wanted just to kind of add something, because they're actually, all of the content, if you are, let's just say you subscribe to Modern Companion for a full calendar year. Over that calendar year, you are going to build up such a beautiful library of content that you can use over and over and over. I mean, endless amount of times. And so if you're, February's February might have notes on, helping postpartum moms get through like those early like sleepless nights and all things like super early postpartum. That might be like one notes that's available in February. Well, if you subscribe in March, you're not going to have that. So it's going to be, so you can use that over and over in the future for a long time. So some things are seasonal, February promos. No, we're not going to use those ever again. That's a once and done. You're not going to miss it if you miss it. So, but there are certain things like, certain notes, educational notes on products, or, helping, tips for moms, postpartum, or just, very specific niche things like that you'll be able to use in countless conversations in the future as you prospect and have members pop up who could benefit from that information. So there's kind of two sides to it.
And do you provide training in your group on how to use these different notes and tools in context?
Yes. So I definitely, yeah, we do. We talk about, so, hey, you have these notes on Ninja Red. What are some ways that we can, put these to use? Who do you talk to about Ninja Red? Where, what are some social media ideas? What could you, pop up on Instagram to, what's a curiosity post that you could do on Ninja Red? Because you can, put up that great, picture of Ninja Red. I'm loving this today. If you, and when people respond, you can be like, do you want me to send you a few of my notes I've got saved in my phone? Like, yes, I do. And so you've got it ready to go right then.
Nice. And when you say notes, are these coming out as a series of texts, or is this a saved reply? Like, what's the actual format translation for Get Oiling? How would they be using it?
So the notes are in campaigns so you can. I am most familiar with using the email campaigns is newer to me. Some of the modern companion content that I have, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just a match made in heaven with email, and I'm just like super excited to have that. But what I'm most familiar with and what I use the most is text. And so if it's in I think that you can always ask somebody though, because if I do like a great curiosity post about Ninja Red, and it's like one of my really close friends who is like, yeah, I've seen you use this for years. What is up with this? If I ask my friend, hey, do you want me, even if it's someone I talk to and text regularly, they might prefer email. So, I mean, that's not, they just might prefer it that way. If they're going to actually sit down and look at something and read it on their computer, email might be their preference. So I think that it's great to, to have both options with Get Oiling. I love that. I love that that we have that. So, but yes, it's going to be a campaign. So it's going to be, and here's, I have notes, and then I have micro notes. Okay. So micro notes for those micro notes, notes is like a text class. It's, it's a series of educational information on, products from Young Living or on the Young Living lifestyle, things like that. But micro notes are going to be even more condensed. And so it's going to be able to help you just stay in those real live conversations, because, if I do a great curiosity post on Instagram and someone responds, I don't, and they say, yes, email me or text me some information. If I text them one text a day for 14 plus day, I mean, that's, that the conversation is kind of moved on yonder at that point. So I like to keep the micro notes for when we're doing the micro work and just kind of engaging in that real life. It's happening right now with like a really warm or hot lead, situation. Keep them really brief, not 2 texts a day for 14 days or, not a big, huge thing, but just a few, like, hey, a couple of great testimonials and a couple of great, pieces of information. So 3 to 5 texts max, usually maybe even 3 to 4 max. So just to kind of really hone in on just quality, concise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So you're basically just giving them exactly what they're asking for, because it sounds like the context here is always a conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. That's awesome. Okay.
So I'm super curious. Is there somewhere where I can see the questions on my end?
Yeah. You are a co-host, so you should be able to see if you hit the Q&A box. And then also in the chat. Yeah, by all means.
I see it now. I see it.
Got it?
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Now I don't feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants quite so much.
Yeah, you're fine. There was a question from earlier on. You had mentioned a bit of personal development, maybe a course or something you were doing that kind of led you to that realization that you needed to simplify and make things more personal. We have a question as to what that was.
Well, this is one of my favorite personal developments. It was coaching. It was a small group setting. This was it was just trying to think the 3 pillars coaching. So if you are in the Facebook big team Facebook group, search for 3 pillars coaching. The coaching was with Jody Meschuk and Sarah Lee, who I just love them both to pieces. They are great. And so this was just an ongoing small group, just like this, just chatting it up, just digging into our business, all sorts of things. It was amazing.
Fantastic.
Yes,
I don't know Sarah, but I know Jody, and she's fabulous. Awesome. All right.
Well, Sarah is her bestie, or one of them. So
then she must be perfect and amazing too. All right, so Shauna had a 2-part question. First, how did you establish text contact with your downline first?
Mm-hmm.
So many phone numbers or landlines. Did you email them or call them first to set up the text contact?
So I just reached out over text. So in order to, and I have this, by the way, in my, I have a introductory text that you can use for yourself, and then I have one that's also like just to kind of establish the relationship. If you already have a downline, you're starting to connect to text them and to connect with them, I have a saved reply that you can use. You can tweak it, make it your own. You can add a picture of yourself, and I even have some suggestions of what that might look like if you want to do that. But so I have a saved reply for that, and I also have a saved reply that's specifically for new members, so that as people are onboarding into your organization and getting just brand new members, you can just from here forward, you know, you have the people who are already here that you may or may not know that you have to establish something with. And that's arguably, you know, a little bit of a trickier way, you know, thing to do. But then for new members, I have something, a saved reply for starting that kind of off on the right foot. But yeah, so I would reach out over text, introduce yourself, let them know why you're texting them, who you are, and just, you know, checking in on them, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And the second part of her question is, what do you suggest for downline members that are not personally enrolled, but their enroller is not contacting them?
Well, they're your customers. So I recommend establishing a relationship for sure. I would just reach out and think that you're going to have people who, you know, you'll get all sorts of responses, but I think that largely people are absolutely going to appreciate reaching out and being able to connect with you. So I always reach out to, you know, reach out and establish a relationship with everybody is great, I think.
Yeah, no matter what, people need to know you're there for them.
Absolutely.
All right, we have a question here. If we don't have Get Oiling yet, can we still use Modern Companion? Do we still subscribe to the Get Oiling version or a different one? So these are actually designed and written into format for Get Oiling or Project Broadcast, right? Depending on what you use.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I do have content formatted for Project Broadcast users to use, and then also I have content. This is like relationship building, downline education, downline relationship building. Formatted for Get Oiling as well. And so, so at this time, I don't have it formatted to where I don't totally know what that would look like or what the best way for that to look like would be. But basically at this time, it's formatted only for those two platforms.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's whether you're using us or you're using another platform, Get Oiling or another platform where that's concerned, it's just to kind of speak to one of the first things you said, it's more efficient to use a platform because then you can broadcast things out. Then you can see who's clicking links, who's opening things, right? And you're able to actually manage through a CRM, or in the case of Get Oiling, manage through a CRM, your actual progress of your contacts and see who's on ER and all that kind of good stuff.
Love it. I love it.
Yes. All right. We did have a question here from Sharma. She said that her access to the Facebook page has been pending since the 6th. I'm wondering if maybe it might be the wrong group.
The 6th. I'm like, what is today? That was a while ago.
Yeah. Okay. This would have been right after our webinar. So,
I just went through them. I'm curious if we'll check today because I just went through them all early this morning. I got up at about 5 a.m. and I went through them all. Messaged a lot of people. So I have changed the name to my group, my original group, which was only for Project Broadcast. And so I have Project Broadcast now in the title of that. I think that's going to clear up a lot of confusion. My bad. Because I did have several people who had joined the wrong group. And so now I think that will be more clear. And I thought I had gone through, and I mean, I definitely will double check on that. The reason it was pending I will go ahead and just confess, it's because I had fever and aches this week.
I hope you're feeling better.
I am. I'm totally on the mend. I appreciate that, but I did get behind on my ads. But now something I have come across is that sometimes I will have someone go to the Modern Companion website. They will hop on board. They'll get what they want to get. They'll join, and their name is maybe their name on the website says Jenn and their name on Facebook says Jennifer, or their whatever. So when I'm going through Facebook, I look at the name and then I say, is that name in my database? Let me confirm, make sure they're in the right group. But it's not always, so basically I have some name confusion sometimes, or people with, maiden names that are added or taken away or double name, I don't know. So sometimes there's some name confusion, but I thought it was all cleared as of this morning. I will double check. If you are, so I will double check, but she might need to rejoin and just ask to join again.
Okay. And just make sure it's the one that has Get Oiling in the title.
Yes. So it should be crystal clear now. It's got Get Oiling in the title. So yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, just make sure you've got that and she should be able to get you in there. And then of course, everything is in there and ready to go, right?
Yes, and going to be
Awesome.
adding in some more stuff this week and throughout the entire month. So I'm
Very
super excited.
cool. So for those of you who haven't checked it out yet, getoiling.com/modern companion. You can actually go over there and see the website. You've got some examples on your website. We have a link to your website on that one that I just told you guys. But you have examples of some of the pretty photos and stuff like that that you would use, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And then of course, if you use the code GETOILING, one word, you get $5 off your first month.
Yeah.
Yes. So for $10, you get, so how many, just again, just to kind of like lay out, here's what you get, right? You have a monthly release. What's sort of the quantities of different things that happens there, right? So like how many images are we talking? Like what does it look like with the total?
How many images total?
Well, images, messages, campaigns, notes, that kind of thing. Like what is sort of the bundle look like on a monthly basis?
That's a good question. Let me think. Let me kind of calculate it in my mind really quick because generally you're going to be around 5-ish bundles a month.
Wow. Okay.
So a bundle, one bundle might be, they're going to vary in size though, because if it's some, notes on, spring cleaning, that's going to have, it's going to have a text option, an email option, save reply, it's going to have, more images with all that. Whereas, the promo or like a weekly check-in, the weekly oil tip, those are going to be more, brief and breezy. So, but generally it's going to be in the neighborhood of 5. But I do like to change it up and just add some little extras for things just as needed as things pop up. And if we have, so it's definitely not set in stone, but I would say at least about 5.
Okay. And by the way, anybody who's here right now who's already using Modern Companion, if you want to give some love and let people know what you love about using Jenn's service, let us know in the comments and we'll make sure that everybody gets to hear it. We also got a question from Claudia. Do you think you'll ever offer a monthly newsletter?
I'm honestly not sure. That's something I'm very open to. I would love to do that, but I definitely, as I'm getting all the Get Oiling, it would probably be at the soonest a month or 2 down the road, at the soonest, I would say, because I'm just getting, I want to really focus on making sure this is just awesome as it can be, worth all the content for building relationships that Get Oiling needs, and just got to put my time into making sure that it's just amazing for everybody starting out and just getting it super awesome. All, it's basically, it's not the top of my priority list, but I would love to. I want to do all the things. So it's super hard for me to be like, oh no, I wouldn't do that later. Cause I'm like, yes, I want to make I want us to have like everything we need to have, but definitely just got to get my ducks in a row, just build out all the content for our library and get everybody just a really strong start and knowing how to use what we have, how to implement it, and just want to make sure everybody in the group just has a really good feeling about getting those relationships built and everything first. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, Jenn started this out just sharing this stuff through Project Broadcast. And if those of you, if any of you are familiar with Project Broadcast, that's a text-only platform, right? So all of this stuff was originally just text and images, right? Whether a campaign or those individual messages, right?
absolutely, yeah.
And so now the possibilities are expanding really big.
I know, and I like it. So I'm like, ooh.
So now, like, because
no
with
telling what might happen. I don't know. There's
this and this girl's good. This girl is good. Yeah, so who knows? It could be funnels, it could be newsletters, but I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is that for those of us, and it doesn't matter how new we are or not, for those of us who, just sometimes don't quite know what to say, right? Or like, what's the best way to share this information if A, I don't know it, or B, I'm like, okay, well, how do I come across the right way? I think one of the real defining factors. And this was a question that came up frequently on the webinar. How are you different than this provider, that provider, and so on? For those of you who are yellow, right? Or for those of you who are maybe, even if you're not yellow, because you're red, Jen. Even if you're not, but you are someone who holds a sensitivity and a consciousness to whether or not you come across like you are aggressive or salesy or selling. If you're sensitive to that, then I think you're going to really enjoy what you find in her content, because it feels like you're just talking to someone that you met at the park, or that you know from school, or that works with you, or whatever. It just feels natural and comfortable. And if that's a priority to you, then I think it's something worth checking into. There was something that we talked about when we were chatting the other day, Jen, and it's not something that would necessarily logically come to mind where we're talking about, okay, well, here's some text messages I wrote for you to send out to your people who are interested. Tell us a little bit about this aspect of bringing joy back into your business, because I think that was a really important thing for you. And this approach that you've adopted, that now others can too, and using your content can experience that too. So what does that mean to you to bring joy back into your business?
I mean, it means everything to me, honestly. I've been completely just sold out and committed to my Young Living business from day one. And when you start to kind of, face some of the challenges and obstacles in your business that can just really just feel just frustrating or defeating, or whatever, those seasons can be really hard, and they can just really take a toll on you sometimes. Not to mention just the personal things that we go through alongside building our business. It's just I just think that in reality, we're all going to have these moments where it's like, okay, this has been amazing, and it still is amazing, but gosh, it just feels a little different, or it's just looking a little different. And you have to really just kind of I think just kind of center yourself and get back to the core of things. And for me, just really focusing on and just kind of I had to unlearn a lot and relearn a lot, just to be able to look at the people in my downline, look at the people around me in my life, because we see people and we see new people every day. And so just really learning how to refocus back on people and building those relationships, and keeping that, learning how to kind of just keep that like in my mind, it's just kind of on a pedestal, just keep the people on a pedestal. That is the most important thing here in this business. And the to-do list and the IPA lists, and like the hustle, and just all this stuff can just swirl around like a tornado a little bit in my mind. But it's like, focusing on the people and just making impact in their lives and helping them to grow, and to grow in wellness is something that just has, this was something that I learned largely my coaches that I had all last year. They helped me with that so much in my personal development. And it was eye-opening. The shift was huge in learning. So just being able to focus on those relationships, grow those relationships, and to understand that is what grows this business. Are there a lot of other things that can be done and that need to be done still? Yes, but that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad to offer this content to people and this system to people, because we all just need to really focus. I believe we need to focus on relationship building. And when this is essentially delegating out, what to say, how to say it. It's like, just set me up to where I can then just really focus on this person, because we all can focus on the people around us and listen and to be there for them. I can't go be there for all these people and for all their prospects, but I can give them the tools, or I can give you guys the tools to where you can then just use the tool and just listen to the responses and just love on those people. And it's the most important thing. But it's so easy to get bogged down with the IPA list and creating all the graphics and writing all the things and programming all the stuff and doing all that, and then meeting new people. It's just, the list can just snowball. And so I love that Get Oiling is like, it offers so much, one-stop shop for so many things that need to be taken care of so effectively. If you can take a tool like that and take your systems and just put it to work so that you can focus on gaining influence with new people and just gaining influence with people, getting more influence and leadership with the people that you already know, and just focus on that, I think businesses will just take off. And so anyways, and that coming back to your question, that to me is just what keeps the joy alive in it, when you can see I'm helping people and they're moving and growing. And that's another thing I love to be thinking about strategically with Modern Companion content. I don't create this content just for everyone to consume it, but we want to help people move and grow. And so I think about things in that way also.
That's beautiful. Isn't it amazing that the thing that brings the most joy in this business is also the thing that grows the business best?
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't that amazing? Jackie gets it. She's over here in the content like, yes, this is it. Jackie knows a thing or two about this. She's actually going to do a training on something pretty similar along these lines next week. So yeah, at the end of the day, what you're going to get when you join Modern Companion and use it with your Get Oiling membership is to be able to be more effective, but then also to invite more of those interactions into your life more readily and more consistently, that yes, move the needle in your business, but are also things that are really fulfilling, right? Knowing that you're actually helping people. I mean, maybe you are someone who got into this, you looked at the comp plan and you're like, yep, I'm doing that, right? But most people get into this, and more so than that, they look at this and they say, wow, this is a movement, and this is something I believe in, and we can change the world. And you change the world one person at a time, right? One relationship at a time. So fabulous. Okay. I think we have one more question here before we get going. Let's see. Do you offer any notes on doing the business?
I will be. So keep your eyes open for them. I will be. I love this business. Sometimes I'm like, it's amazing I'm writing anything about the products at all, because I'm just like, I love this business. So yes, I'm really looking forward to sharing some notes on business.
Fantastic. Well, is there anything that maybe we glazed over? Anything that you'd like to include or add in, Jen, before we go?
You
guys bring it in if you've got any more questions while we're still here.
Let me see. I would just like to encourage anybody who has not yet reached out to their downline, not yet tried texting. I had project broadcasts for, was it 2 or 3 years? At least 2 years before I started sharing, really building relationships with it. I would just kind of reach out, touch base here or there. But as far as being a consistent voice in someone's life, and sharing educational information, notes, text classes, all that type of stuff, I really was just reserved before doing it, largely because of just the learning curve and not knowing what to send and where to get the information. I mean, largely because of something that is a problem that we've solved now with Modern Companion. But once I did it, and once I really stayed consistent with it, I mean, it really was a game changer for my business. And so I would just want to encourage anybody. I know that it can be uncomfortable. I know it can be like, okay, this is a whole new thing. And it is a whole new thing. But here is a real story for you. I reached out to probably 400 or 500 or so people in my downline. And I just said, hey, here I am. This is who I am. And I was just curious if you might want me to, check in and just share, some weekly updates with you, just give you some tips and tricks for your oils. 122 people on the spot responded to that message and said, yes. This
wow.
I was like, it still gives me goosebumps, because was I getting 122, responses or likes or anything to my Facebook posts or to my whatever? There's, all the things, whatever. No, but these were people who they, really responded. And so, anyways, it was really eye-opening. And so just, you never know the people in your downline who really, beyond your personally enrolled. Most of those people, definitely most of those people are not my personally enrolled. So you just never know the people who are going to say, yes, give me information. and people really respond well to it. It's not just, it's convenient for us. We've talked a lot about this, like, hey, you set it and forget it. It's ready to go. You just pick who needs it and who to send it to, and we even help you with that. But for the people on the other end, you guys, like, let's think about, the people on the other end. So that's just, what they're getting and what we're delivering to them. This, it's life-changing information, and it's coming straight to their phone. It's, those little nudges in the right direction. So anyway, I just thought that, those numbers that I had, they really were eye-opening to me. So I just kind of wanted to share that little story just to encourage anybody, just to, I know it can be a little intimidating, but it's worth it for the people on the other end who are needing. They've already said yes to Young Living. They need that, the information and that connection with somebody. So
awesome.
Anyway.
Those numbers are astounding, right? Those are,
I think
so. Yeah, those are really incredible numbers. And that's something that you can get. I mean, we have two-way texting with Get Oiling. You just plug in Jenn's information here through the bundle that you get inside of the Facebook group, and she'll show you how to use it. and bam, bam, you're ready to go. And I think that, again, just to reiterate, like, when people receive those messages, it sounds just like you're sending it to them one-to-one, right? It's not like, hey, everybody, promo. It's, hey, how are you? Right? It feels different.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. So cool. All right. Well, guys, Amanda, Jenn, if we have anything else we want to add, or, if anybody else has any other questions, otherwise we are going to get going on our way. Make sure you go to getoiling.com/modern companion. When you head over to her site from there, use the code GetOiling and get $5 off your first month. Super exciting. And yeah, for those of you who are having trouble accessing the group, send us a message. Definitely try to get into the group again, but be on the lookout for that. And for some text from Jenn, some texts and emails from Jenn about new content coming out. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, we did have, were you going to comment about Jenn James's comment here?
No, but I was just going to
sorry.
say, yes, just thank you, Jennifer, for all that you've done here and bringing all your content in and pretty quick. And this is amazing. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I thank you guys. This blesses me so much to do. I just love it, and it just thrills me to see people succeeding with it and running with it and being able to build relationships. It's a huge blessing to me. So I appreciate you guys having me on today also.
Yeah, we're excited to have you as a platform partner, content partner with the platform to really help people, to each their own, like you said before. Everybody's going to find somebody that they really resonate with. And I know that there are a lot of folks who have Get Oiling right now who are really going to love the content that you've created. Jenn James says here, I just joined on Thursday, sent the Valentine text notes option to 2 members, and they both accepted. One is responding positively to every message. This is what I needed as a green, learning to talk to people in conversation.
Woo-hoo. Good job, Jenn.
That is awesome. All right, cool. Well, I can't wait to see more of these great testimonials, seeing you guys use Modern Companion and Get Oiling together. Remember, again, getoiling.com/Modern Companion. You guys can go check it out for $10 for your first month. And we'll see you guys on an upcoming training. Thank you so much, Jenn.
All right, guys.
Yes.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.